The structure strengthened. You can easily do what Ndindi Nyoro has done.
It's interesting that you say that, because let's listen to what Junet Mohammed and Kimani Ichung'wah had to say about this, because for them what Ndindi Nyoro has done is almost close to a miracle. Listen to what they say.
The Budget and Appropriation Committee of this House has reached to the level where the chair of that committee, Mr. Speaker, now, members of Parliament are going to his constituency for benchmarking, Mr. Speaker.
We have now reconstituted a new Budget and Appropriations Committee. Let me be on record, it will not be business as usual. This House will not sit back and allow members who sit in the Budget and Appropriations Committee to use the position they hold in that committee to appropriate money to only their constituencies at the expense of other Kenyans.
And all of us are supposed to receive the same amount of NGCDF, Mr. Speaker. What is making our members to go and benchmark in a colleague's constituency, Mr. Speaker? Because the colleague is receiving more funding because of him being the chairman of the budget committee. Let's be honest to Kenyans. Let's tell Kenyans the truth, that he was sitting in an advantageous position of chairing that powerful committee of the House, which you could do skewed allocation of resources to his constituents, Mr. Speaker. Otherwise, which member of Parliament here can afford, through his NGCDF, to build classrooms, plaster them, put windows, put roof, put tiles in the classroom, cabros in the... Mr. Speaker, which member of Parliament can afford to do that?
Yeah, and Ndindi Nyoro of directing 2 billion from the public participation fund to his constituency, giving him an unfair advantage over his colleagues in terms of development. This discussion took place without a formal motion to address Nyoro, as the Speaker watched and guided the debate. Honorable Kelo, did the House act dishonorably when it came to the constitution of these committees?
You know, we have two sets. Well, firstly, good morning, Kenya, and good morning to my two colleagues from the Senate here. There has been a reconstitution of committees of Parliament, and that is in line with our standing orders, that at the middle of an electoral cycle, certain committees have to be reconstituted, and Budget and Appropriations Committee is one of them. So we have had a committee or other committees that have served for the last 2.5 years, and we hope that if none will be dissolved, because we have seen before when two committees of Parliament have been dissolved. One was actually the Budget and Appropriations Committee, which was dissolved, I think that was in the 11th Parliament, courtesy of a motion that was moved by one late Jakoyo Midiwo. And then secondly, we have had the PAC, Public Accounts Committee.
Because all these 349 members come here to represent people. They come here to seek and lobby for resources to go back to their people. That is why the people of Vihiga are crying today. It is sad that you would find in a county that was to benefit from public participation, a national polytechnic in a county that was slated to benefit for public participation, getting a meager 10 million shillings, whereas in another county where a member in the Budget and Appropriations Committee sits in, a national polytechnic gets 250 million shillings. It is immoral, it is unethical, and very unprofessional of us who sit in those committees.
So before the end of life of a committee, anything can happen.
Yeah.
But this was procedural to the effect that each and every committee has to be reconstituted mid-term. Most of the members, actually, because the headline talks about the Budget and Appropriations Committee, most of the members have been retained to a larger extent. Even Ndindi Nyoro, who is under scrutiny here, has also been retained as a member of the same committee. So he will still serve as Budget and Appropriations Committee member. There have been several issues as relates to the Budget and Appropriations Committee. where certain counties and certain constituencies have benefited the more to the detriment of others. And that is why, in the wisdom...
So you're saying that the MPs are simply not using the CDF?
They're simply not using their CDF. A lot of MPs misappropriate and steal CDF. But as a member of parliament, I made sure there was no grassroots school and there was no mud school, and we could, and every primary school could get at least 1 million or 2 million going on, and you find all the roofs are changed and the structures strengthened. You can easily do what Ndindi Nyoro has done.
It's interesting that you say that, because let's listen to...
Of the leadership that we have, the majority and minority, it was so chosen that has to stop by putting a new team to steer this ship. Whether Ndindi Nyoro has individually gained from the process is something that the Auditor General can point at.
Showing why Ndindi Nyoro had to leave, but the decision that Ndindi Nyoro was going to be ousted as budget chair was made a long time ago, and from very high, from very high up there, because it was not news yesterday that Honorable Atandi was elected as budget chair. Everybody knew he was going to be the budget chair, and Ndindi Nyoro was not going to be the budget chair. And so,
Ndindi Nyoro, you can never you condemn somebody unheard. Ndindi Nyoro has simply used his CDF well. And that's what I want to tell Junet Mohammed if he has not been following up his CDF.
And so you're saying when Junet asked that which MP can afford through NGCDF to build classrooms, plaster them, put cabro and roofing tiles, you say that the MPs are simply stealing
yes,
CDF?
Yes. In fact, any MP who does not steal CDF, they will do a lot in their constituencies, and they will always be elected back by the people. But a lot of MPs steal the CDF. I can assure you, even if you did an audit of Kiharu constituency, even if you are to send the Auditor General there, she will find that everything has been done well. You remember Ndindi Nyoro was a chairman of CDF for Rungu Kangata. And so long as you don't want to plunder public resources, I can assure you this country has a lot of money. It's only that it is stolen, beginning with the MPs at the CDF level. It is only that it is stolen at the national level. We have enough money in the country to build all the roads, to make sure that there are no road blockages. When it's about...
I am not an authority here, because again, I don't sit in that budget committee. But my leaders did raise it as a concern that some monies that were appropriated for public participation to the tune of 12 billion shillings, 2 billion shillings was directed to Kiharu, where Ndindi Nyoro sits. Whether this is indeed true, if they open an audit to be carried out, then we will be able to know. And if it is so, then that is a criminal offense. And somebody must be held to account.
All right.
Either through a surcharge or you serve your term in jail.
Okay. Joe, was this a dishonorable move?
Very dishonorable, Trevor, because as the standard indicates there, both the majority and minority leaders, discussed a personality, that is the Honorable Ndindi Nyoro, in Parliament, without a motion. If you want to discuss the character or a particular person, then you need to move a motion. And as the standard indicates, that this happened while the Speaker watched and guided the debate. And I can tell you, Trevor, that Speaker Wetangula is a very smart mind. These are very bright, these are very big legal mind. So he did not just watch and guided the debate as Ndindi Nyoro was being teared, or as they were tearing Ndindi Nyoro in the House, because he did not know he was not aware of the provisions or the standing orders of the National Assembly. He did this because, of course, if you want to kill a dog, you start by calling it a bad name. I've listened to my friend, Honorable Okello, of course, talk about the reconstitution of committees in the House. And it's both houses, we have discussed about the reconstitution in the Senate. But if you look at it, it's actually nobody wanted to reconstitute the committees. It was something concocted to, of course, kick out all the leaders from the Mount Kenya region. And anybody that voted no or abstained from the motion of ousting Rigathi Gachagua or impeaching Rigathi Gachagua was not allowed to survive as a chair in both houses.
Yeah.
And that is, it's just something created, something, a narrative that, we are reconstituting the committees.
Yeah.
It is nothing, Trevor. It is a purge against Mount Kenya leaders.
Yeah.
And Ndindi Nyoro was not going to survive because this is a promising leader in Mount Kenya.
Yeah.
And what the powers that be do not want to hear or see is any leader coming from Mount Kenya. And I want to challenge my friend Jared Okello. Senator Manzo is also here. Tell me who else was ousted, at least in the Senate. Nobody else was removed. No chair was removed if they did not come from Mount Kenya. So, I mean, it's a charade.
Okay.
People targeting a region, isolating a region, and calling it a reconstitution of committees. Trevor, that's a very good question. When you are chair, you have an opportunity to exercise leadership of the committee. And everybody grows. If you ask most of these leaders, most of them started as student leaders. So that particular opportunity to lead other students, not because you're better than them, but of course it grows your leadership. And that's why I said there is a scheme to see to it that no leader from Mount Kenya grows. So that now, if you have an opportunity to grow as a leader, as a chair of a committee, and the powers that be do not want any leader going forward to grow in the Mount Kenya region, then of course you have to be removed. So the thing is, that opportunity to be able to hone your skills as a leader, of course, are there when you are chairing a committee, and that is why no one was allowed to survive, at least in the Senate.
Because they don't want them to sharpen their...
They do not want that. They want Mount Kenya to be... they do not want anybody who is potent in Mount Kenya. And, it's a scheme.
Okay.
And although we are going to discuss it, even these packed manenos, actually, it is something that came for that particular reason. And that's why you hear Raila Amolo Odinga, whom I have a lot of respect for, saying that it is not him that went to President Ruto. It is President Ruto that went to Raila Amolo Odinga. And no less than the Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga himself has said that, because the interest of William Ruto is to see to it that there is impotence in leadership in Mount Kenya region, and this is something that he had always planned. And there is that clip that goes around saying, nyinyi hamna shida na Wakikuyu kama sisi, lakini nafika mahali unatafuta serikali kwanza ili serikali ikusaidie kutatua ile shida. That is what he did. He got the government to sort out the Kikuyu, the Mount Kenya region. And that is what is happening. Most of these things you are seeing here, they have nothing to do with the people.
Okay.
They have everything to do with the survival of President William Ruto and the killing of any leader, not killing per se physically, but the killing of any Mount Kenya leader that is springing.
Okay.
Yes.
Manzo, is this about a people like Joe is trying to convince us here, or is it about the leadership of these particular committees?
Let me help him out, because I've been in Parliament for many years. First of all, the committees are very powerful, and under the new constitution, they sort of replace the ministries. And you find the chair of committee wields a lot of power, and especially chair of a budget. This is almost equivalent to a minister. Of course, the chairs have, although committees are no longer paid for attendance, the chairs have a higher salary, which the other members don't have. But most important for someone like Ndindi Nyoro, if the broad-based government had never been formed, no one in opposition would have a chance to chair the end of these committees, because you see, just like the way it goes with the majority. You know, the moment you have majority in the House, then you have majorities in the committees automatically. And when an election is called, the majority of government takes over. A leader like member of parliament, and I know CDF is very effective if you leave it to the management of the people and your work is to oversight. You know, the CDF committees are, if you allow the people to elect and you allow them to constitute them and you give the money direct to the community, and in fact that work as a system it works with. If you allow CDF to operate purely, it can do a lot. That money is a lot. You can invest in every single school. You can do all what that Ndindi Nyoro has done. If you had used other government resources, what happens is when you are a chair of budget, you know every member of parliament is supposed to allocate resources to their constituencies. You allocate, and then you follow up. And all this is challengeable during the committee of supply. That's the time you can amend if somebody has scooped more than the other. But what do many members of parliament do? During committee of supply, you find only 10 members. You know, the ones who like law and mathematics and accounts. Most of them have gone to take tea while the things are being moved from their constituencies to other constituencies. To rain, you'll be surprised how our roads will become pools of, you know what, it's because of stealing. If people worked as honest as Ndindi Nyoro, they will get very far. And if you have skewed anything, it will be on the record. It is in the committee of supply. It is in the ministry. You know which minister has been working in Kiharo. It will be there. You know the government implements through the ministries. So and I'm sure CDF is not more than any other person. I can assure you that's a model constituency. Ichungwa should go and land there, and Junet. If Junet Mohammed abandons his constituents and is always in Nairobi doing politics, and you have allowed thieves to run your CDF, there will be no classroom which will ever be plastered. It will never have windows. It will never have cabro and those sort of things. So it's doable, and I did it in Makueni, and it worked. And within 2 years, everybody could see every school has a new roof. It is workable. So let them not hide behind these politics of nonsense. Let them go and work in their constituencies. Well, even them, in fact, Junet Mohammed and the Chungwa are more advanced to skew development than any other member of parliament, if that were the practice.
All right, I have to take a quick break on that note and come back and hear from Jared whether they're stealing this NGCDF from their constituencies, and that much more coming up in just a bit.